of November, although I could be wrong. I've been up all night. Thought I'd just, because Glastonbury tickets went on sale at 4 in the morning, so I thought I'll just stay up. I came to town, so I'm not actually on the island at the moment. I'm actually in Bocas. This is Bocas town, yeah, that you can see. There's the water there. Island's right over there. I can just about make it out in the distance from town. But yeah, I thought I'd do a quick live show. So you've got me for half an hour. Hello, Katrina. How you doing? At least we've got Katrina watching. That's good. Do you like my little cup? Do you like my little Panamanian cup? It's got these two little things and kind of push them together. Yeah. Anyway, just an update, I guess, on what's happening on the island. If you're interested, we are experiencing some king tides. King tides, they're called, because they're absolutely whopping. They are a good, probably about 12 inches higher than I've ever experienced while I've been here. It has just been mad. And as a result, it's meant that we've had to get up early in the morning and get a load of work done, because literally once the water's up, there's nothing we can do. Even in your wellies, if you walk in the sort of boggy bits, then the water's got to come over the top of your wellies, and it's just really hard to move soil when it's that wet. So Ishmael's on his way over to pick me up, so I might have to cut this short, because if I get a message come up on my phone saying, Ishmael, hi, I'm here, I'll have to head back to the island. But what I was going to talk about, I called this video Garbage In, Garbage Out, because I want to talk about the Democrats in America, right? Because I kind of blame them a lot for what's happened. It's that Hughes bloke. Afternoon, badgers. Hi, folks. That's Cathal saying afternoon all, and Jeannie there, and One Angry Pagan, and Duke Vengeance. Hi, hello everyone. Jazz Hunt there. Are they king tides because they have massive sausage fingers and cost the NHS a lot of money? Yes, they charge the NHS £11 million just to have an ambulance there or something. Greetings from New York. That's quite flash, Colin. Well done for being in New York. MHK was in there as well. So I want to talk a little bit about the Democrats, because I really do blame them a large way for what's happened. And I want to talk about, first of all, I think that Kamala Harris ran a great campaign, and I've said this before, I think she did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong. There's nothing she could have done better, I don't think. I think trawling over things that were said, or celebrities that she used, or whatever, I don't think it's worth it. I think that she did the best with the shit hand she was dealt. But she shouldn't have been handed that shit hand. She shouldn't have been. And this is an issue with Labour over here and the Democrats over in the States. They're always fighting the last war. They're always playing by the laws of cricket when the other team are not just cheating at cricket. They're not even playing cricket. They're playing they're playing speedball 2, They're playing a completely different game. And it always feels like the left always seem to end up like a rabbit in the headlights. You know what I mean, yeah? When these things happen, they're like, oh my God, they could never have foreseen this happening. And I think the biggest mistake, if we're going to, draw back over what happened, was allowing Biden to stand as the presidential candidate when he was clearly too old and not up to the job. That was sort of the first biggest mistake. Kamala Harris only had 3 months for the American people to find out who she was, and she inherited what people felt was a worst economic situation. And she was trying to sell that, more of the same. There's not much else you can do. The American economy is in rude health, but it's hard to explain that to someone who's wondering why their eggs are so expensive, or their fuel is so expensive, or their, cost of living is so expensive. And so you've got that, and then there's the other thing, and I think this is probably even bigger than the mistake there. It was just not going after Trump enough when they had the opportunity. When this guy mounted an insurrection against the American seat of Parliament, their Congress building, their Capitol building, that should have been the end of it, He should have been arrested and marched out of the White House on January the 20th and into a cell. That's it. No debate. None of this going through the impeachment, pantomime, taking up months and months of congressional time on something that they knew was going to fail because they had to get a supermajority in the Senate, and the Republicans were never going to vote for it. They just weren't. You know, maybe a couple of Republicans like Liz Cheney might have voted for it, but most of them wouldn't. You know, how could they not know that? You know, it's like, I was expecting them to be nice. I said, no, they're not nice. They're scumbags. And then when it came out about the vote rigging, he called up the governor of Georgia and asked for 11,870 more votes. And then it came out that he stole documents and he was selling them and showing them to people, anyone who wanted to see them. 150 Secret Service agents around the world were killed as a result of that. Like, he killed 150 Americans, that guy, by selling who their identity was to the highest bidder to make a bit of money. They should have nailed him. They should have absolutely nailed him. And if you say, well, Graham, you've got to have civil, proceedings and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I kind of get that to a certain extent, but surely with the weight of the presidency behind it, it could have got moving a lot faster. But they didn't want to politicize it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? If the government choose to prosecute people who take part in a riot, it's not politicising it. It's doing what needs to be done. Quite simply, I've got to plug in my phone. I just realised I'm only on 18%. Left wing, we didn't think the right would do that. Yeah, Dave Moore. Yeah, that's exactly what the problem is. They keep getting caught out time and time again. I've been told not to slurp when I drink my coffee or whatever. I try not to slurp. I wait for it to go cold and I can just glug it down. Centralist civility politics. Yeah. They think that the other side is as civil as they are. They think that the other side cares as much about the rule of law and people, convention, tradition, common decency. They think the right care about that kind of stuff, and the right just don't. The right just do not care, and they will demolish you. So these are two big mistakes that I think that the Biden administration made, and now they're going to reap the whirlwind because Trump is going to kill them. Trump is going to have them killed. I guarantee it. He's going to use his powers that he was given by the Supreme Court to murder anyone he doesn't like, or lock up anyone who looks at him funny. If anyone tries protesting outside the White House, he's going to shoot them. Legally. You have to understand. And the guy is a psychopath. Like, he's a stone-cold psychopath. Life and death means nothing to him. Not just the people who died as a result of January the 6th, not just the secret agents that he got killed around the world, not just the rebels in Syria that were fighting alongside American forces against ISIS, who he just abandoned, not just the people of Afghanistan that he abandoned as well, and the people of Ukraine who he would abandon, who he will abandon, given the chance. But let's not forget, in his last couple of months of office, he signed off on the execution of hundreds of prisoners. Hundreds of them. He got off on it. He loves killing people. He's a psychopath he's a sociopath, psychopath. He loves killing people. He loves committing acts of violence. And he's been told by the Supreme Court that any acts of violence that he chooses to commit as an official act are fine. And this is why I'm like, mate, I think America's biggest problem right now is it just has no idea how fucked it is. It's kind of off the charts. Duke Vengeance said, I had Americans on threads telling me they didn't vote Dems because of Gaza. Trump is going to allow Netanyahu to wipe them off the map now and just perplex. Yeah, I said that the other day, mate. Yeah. What? That just absolutely staggered me. Graham has gone full Trump-phobic, says Super Tiny. I don't think I'm Trump-phobic. I kind of hate the guy. I do think that he's an absolute monster, an absolute stone-cold killer, like a dead-eyed psychopath. And we're literally giving a hyena the nuclear codes. I can't explain that enough. Like, which you'll probably hand over to Putin, his mate Putin, for the right amount of money. For the right amount of money. Right, I've just got to check to see if I have a message from my friend Ishmael. No, I haven't, so good. I can continue on. So just like that's all I really wanted to say this morning. This won't be a long episode. I'll probably just do half an hour. I just want to, keep making this stuff. Keep making this stuff each day. Oh, hello! We got a £5 super chat. Brilliant. People are switching from Twitter to Blue Sky. Fuck you, Musk. Not many users on there yet, though. Says Resloy 812. Thank you very much, Resloy. That's very kind of you. And I'm over there now. I'm on Blue Sky. If you want to find me, it's at Graham David Hughes. So look me up. I've only written about 3 messages so far. I've not really used it very much, but I appear to be on some kind of list. Not a bad list, not like a CIA list, not like a Trump hit list. Well, not yet, but a list of left-wing political pundits in the UK, and so I've suddenly got like a few thousand followers without doing anything. So I'm assuming that someone's put me on the list, probably Josh from Movement Forward or someone. So whoever it was, thank you for doing that. Saved me a lot of work. I'm down the cafe having Sunday roast. I'm in the cafe. This is a cafe that I'm in at the moment. I've just literally had my breakfast. The leftovers are there on the plate at the moment. But yeah, I hope they don't mind me broadcasting. But I found this place literally at like 5 minutes to 8. I've not had a chance to do a thumbnail or anything. What do you think the likelihood of American vigilantism actually becoming a thing now instead of it just being a fantasy? Well, I don't know about vigilantism because I feel that's for right-wingers who just want to go and kill people for not being white. It's not generally about actually justice in the old school sense. I think you're going to see a lot of people buying guns and weapons, knives, especially women, mace, pepper spray, all that kind of stuff because, hey, thank you, because the threat of rape is incredibly real now in America. With Trump as the president, it's effectively decriminalised. They've elected a rapist as the commander-in-chief, as their leader of their country. And horrifically, there's half the states in America have rules that mean that if you are raped and you get pregnant, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get an abortion. You're going to be forced to have your rapist's baby. I mean, like, that's just like a horror compiled upon a horror. It's like something from dystopian fiction. But, all this has happened in our sight, like, as we're watching it in real time. It's unfolded in real time. And we've watched it, we've seen it on the internet, we've seen it on the news. And it's horrifying. It's horrifying. And as I said before, I'd rather talk about anything but this. Alex says some of the football Twitter has moved over to escape the hell site. This happened last week. Everyone wants less toxicity. Yes, good. John says, yay, barely 10 minutes late. I should catch up before the end. Fantastic. I'll talk really slowly, so if you watch it at double speed, it'll sound all right. Wear a Rishi Sunak jumper and no real human will go near you, says Plum Duff. And one I think it says Blessed Sunday, I think. I feel like in the same way that I really do blame Labour for Brexit and for losing the 2019 election to Boris Johnson, letting Boris Johnson have an 80-seat majority, I pin that on Labour. I pin what's happened in America, quite a lot of it, on the left, on the Democrats, because Tories, Republicans, the genital obsessed party, whatever you want to call them, they're fuckers. They're always going to be fuckers. Like, everyone knows. They're shitbags. They are shitbags, right? Tory's going to Tory. You know where you are with them. But I think it's part of human nature, I think, if you're on the left, if you're a progressive, to sort of hope that people can be better, people can improve. I'm sorry. Call me a cynic, but I really don't think they can. I really just don't think they can. I don't think they will. Which is sad. Which is really, really sad. It's really nice out there. I'm just going to turn the camera so you can see what's over here. If I just turn this around, there you go. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Little cafe here. Isn't that lovely? I love it here. It's so nice. It's a bit of a party town. You know, the bar didn't shut last night. Like, it was open all night. I brought my bag thinking I was going to stay over. I was going to kip somewhere. I didn't. But yeah, it's a really wonderful place, Bocas. It's really magical. Bocas del Toro, where my island is here in Panama. It's what I expected the Caribbean to be like. With lots of, wooden shacks and jetties that are half falling into the water and really great food and spicy. And just that sort of vibe, that Caribbean vibe that I expected from movies, Secret of Monkey Island, Pirates of the Caribbean, whatever. And I didn't really find that in a lot of the Caribbean countries that I went to. Probably because I didn't spend enough time in those countries to actually get out the capital and travel around. I didn't get as much time as I'd like, but I found that most of the places that I visited in the Caribbean had just been concreted over. Really, really, careless, unthinking development based around the cruise ship industry. Something coming in and out. And yeah, it just felt a bit soulless. That's a horrible word to use, but it wasn't what I expected the Caribbean to be. I just wanted a hammock between two palm trees. That's what I was imagining, and it wasn't quite that. It had all been Americified, I guess, if that's a horrible word to put it, but you get off the boat, you get off the cargo ship or whatever it was you were taking in, and the town would be set up for tourists, for big concrete, not harbour, but dock for the big boats to come into, and there'd be like a shopping mall and a multiplex cinema. It's like, how would you travel halfway around the world to go to a fucking shopping mall? You've not got enough of them at home. And so coming here, which is proper ramshackle, the road outside doesn't even have any tarmac on it at the moment. This is more like it. This is more what I was expecting of the Caribbean. It is the Caribbean, and it's an archipelago of islands, so it really does have that sort of island feel to it. I find it more romantic here than I do in other places. I'm sorry for people from other places in the Caribbean who might feel affronted by me saying this, but I gotta say, like, the places where I got out of the capital, like I travelled around, say, I got out of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, and that was quite nice. Once I was out the main town. Oh, there were some nice bits in the old town, actually. St. Kitts and Nevis, that was pretty nice. That was pretty ramshackle. The capital, Basseterre, there. But yeah, all the places, especially the US Virgin Islands, were just weird place though. St. Thomas in the US Virgin Islands. The cars are left-hand drive, like in America, but they drive on the left, like in the UK. And I have no idea why, because it's an American island. They bought it off Denmark about 100 years ago. Denmark drive on the right. America drives on the right, but just on this one island they drive on the left. Very strange. Don't think too much, Graham. There's nothing we can do. No point getting depressed. Yeah, plumbed off. I mean, yeah. I'm trying not to keep. I'm trying to not have all this stuff keep me up at night. It's not worth it. But I do feel like we have to be very, very clear in our language when we talk about the Orange One and his crimes against humanity and the crimes against humanity yet to come, because someone needs to hear this. I don't know who, but someone needs to hear this, clearly. A leopard never changes its spot, stories will always be horrible. That's very true. Bloody hell, it's proper pretty. At least it is. At least you're getting some vitamin D. It's overcast here since forever, indeed. Have you ever been, the Darien Gap? Sounds lively. No, the Darien Gap's not a great idea unless you want to get eaten alive by mosquitoes and cheetahs and plod through the jungle. It's now a major smuggling route for refugees, essentially coming from Venezuela. But for a long time, there were sort of like FARC guerrillas in there, and it was a very, very dangerous place. I mean, the terrain is dangerous. And it's famously the break in the Panamanian Highway. There's a Panamanian Highway that runs all the way from Alaska down to Tierra del Fuego in the bottom of Chile. And it's got this 30-mile gap, and that's the Darien Gap. And you just can't build stuff there. As the colonists from Scotland found out at the end of the 1600s when they tried to set up a colony there, and it all went tits up, to put it mildly. It was the end of the 1700s, wasn't it? It bankrupted their attempt at having a colony here in Panama at the Darien Gap resulted in the bankruptcy of the Scottish government and the Scottish Treasury, I guess. And the English government said, "Well, we'll bail you out, but you have to join your parliament with ours." Yeah, true story. Scenes like that are why I love living here in Torbay. Tranquil is exactly the word, mostly. The paradise parking lot, says Jez. Now that song's going to be stuck in my head, thank you. It's impossible to imagine someone of sound mind voting Trump. I imagine someone voting for Sunak's Tories, but this is another level. Yeah, true. Afternoon of Bob Marley music after this. Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I found when I was travelling around the world, like that was absolutely universal, was Bob Marley. Didn't matter where you went in the world, people would listen to Bob Marley. Middle East, the Pacific Islands, the Caribbean, obviously, South America, all over Europe, all over Africa, like people listen to Bob Marley. If you are at a party somewhere in the world and you don't know anyone there and you're told to play some songs, put on some Bob Marley, guaranteed, top hint, Bob Marley every time, because people just have no objection to it and it just gets people in a good mood. Great artist. But can you get a stick of rock there? I don't think so. Get a rock, just not a stick of it. I brought you a book recently, looking forward to reading it. Oh, thank you, Vesley. That's really kind of you. To get some souvenirs? I don't really do souvenirs. I know I should, but I just worry about ending my life covered in trinkets from around the world. Darien Gap, best place for Trump? Yeah, it would be actually. Well, maybe the Marianas Trench. That'd be a good place for him. Just seeing if I have no. I'll have the Inquisition write that report on the American election. 18 million plus on Blue Sky. Yep. In the Caribbean, everything is passed on the left-hand side, so I heard, especially the Dutch. Very good, Genie Bottle. Musical youth. Do you see what I did there? You want me on your trivia team, don't you? Don't you? Just tell me you want me on your trivia team. Not only did I get that reference, I took it one step further. Did you visit the Colombian islands of San Andreas and Provincia? No, Providencia. No, I didn't, Roy. I'd really like to. And there's the San Blas Islands, which is halfway sort of between Panama and Colombia. If you ever get a boat between Panama and Colombia, because you can't go through the Darien Gap, generally stops in the San Blas Islands. It's quite a well-worn traveller route now, and the San Blas Islands are incredible. But also critically endangered because climate change, yeah. Graham is a Scouse Buffalo soldier. My only hope is that when people see how bad things are under Trump, they will rise up, including the cultists, says Samu. So I don't think they will. Call me cynical, and many have, but I'm often amazed at, and this is something that struck me on my travels as well, I was often amazed at just how much shit people were prepared to put up with. Like, It was insane. And I always feel like that way about the UK. Like, we put up with stuff that you think the French wouldn't put up with this. Yeah, they wouldn't, you know. But I think the Americans, because it's essentially 50 countries. They're all, you know, the states are very different. They have their own ways of doing things. They have their own governments in each state, you know, their state governments. And considering that Trump now has the power to order the deaths of anyone protesting against him, like just shoot them in the street, piles of dead bodies, women and children, he won't care. He'll be immune from prosecution, like Josh Ackland, Lethal Weapon 2, diplomatic immunity, or taken to another level. That guy will be able legally to commit mass murder. He will be able to legally commit genocide. Do you understand? Genocide against the American people. And they voted for it, knowing it. I mean, I guess some people didn't know it. I guess some people were taken by surprise, but yeah, not great. I'd love a fossil from Panama. I don't think this would be a great place for fossils, to be honest with you, because the ground's too active, I think. Yeah, I don't know, maybe up in the mountains in the middle there, you might find some stuff. My favourite fossil, have I told you this one, Angry Pig? My favourite fossil, I'll have to get it out when I do a show back in the UK. If you remind me, say, Graham, show us your fossil. And it's an ammonite. It's a large ammonite. And it's in a rock, and you open the rock, it's like been split in half, and it's perfect impression of a, you know, ammonite, and then the hollow on the other side is incredible. But what I find even more incredible is where I got it, which was in Tibet, on my way over the border from Nepal into Tibet. And we went through a prayer gate with like the prayer flags on it, and we stopped off there, and there's some people at the side of the road selling trinkets, souvenirs, rocks. And I saw this fossil, I was like, yeah, that's beautiful, I want that. So I bought it, and like I said, I don't really buy many, you know, I don't really buy that many souvenirs when I'm traveling. It's just weigh down your bag. So what did I buy? A rock. I thought I'd buy a rock to weigh down my bag. But what really, really, really like excited me as a nerd is the fact that this rock was 4,000 meters above sea level in the Himalayas, because the Himalayas is a really young mountain range. It's been caused by when, you know, the Indian subcontinent smashed into Asia, and, you know, on geological scales it's relatively young. But that fossil at one point was at the bottom of the sea. It wasn't just at sea level, it was at the bottom of the sea, and it's been pushed up. In fact, the peak, the pinnacle of Mount Everest, which is 8,848 meters above sea level, is limestone. And limestone only forms under great pressure under the sea. Mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. And then you've got people who think the world's 6,000 years old. Bless them. Yeah, your knowledge of countries would be handy on a quiz team. I think it would be. People think better the devil you know. Sad vote despite themselves. Yeah, really. Petrified wood, maybe. Graham, on your travels, have you been to the Chicxulub crater in Cancun where the Cretaceous period ending meteorites hit, the KT event? No, because it's in the sea. It's in the sea. I don't think you can go to the crater. I think isn't it just to the north of the coast? I've been all around the Yucatan Peninsula. I've been to Merida. I've been to Cancun. It's not very nice, but Merida's lovely. Really like Merida. And I've been to like Chichen Itza and Tulum and the other, you know, Yakchilin. Oh God, I'm forgetting me. Uxmal. I'm forgetting me sites here. There's about 50 main sites, you know, dotted around Belize, Guatemala, Mexico, and also there's one in Honduras. Called Corpus Ruinas. Absolutely incredible civilization. Apparently they like to do a bit of sacrifice. C was over Tibet. Indeed, that Steve Bannon is a frightening individual. Yeah. As the resident paleontologist on here, I'd gladly remind you. I'll gladly remind you to reveal the fossil ammonite when you get back. Okay. Watched a video on the mini Minute Man on the existence of Doggerland, which is quite interesting. Yeah, Doggerland, which was the land bridge between mainland Europe and the island of Britain until the end of the last ice age. And interestingly enough, to sync this in with Doggerland, right? I'm going to just show you, that water there, that only appeared 10,000 years ago, right? So before 10,000 years ago, you could just walk. It was dry land between these, what are now islands, which have just been the tops of hills. And when I was talking about the poison dart frog the other day on the show, which is quite famous here in Bogus, the reason why there's so many different morphs, there's about 18 different morphs of this frog, and depending on which island it ended up on, because it was all one species, so it was all the one colour at one time, 10,000 years ago. Very, very hard to find frog fossils at the best of times, but yeah. But 10,000 years ago, they all got split off from each other, and they've all evolved depending on what they eat, sexual preferences, sexual selection, and also predators, like what warded off the predators on that particular island better than others, whether it's to be bright yellow or bright red or bright green, or have these. There's one that's kind of like a yellow body and it's got like what they call jeans. It looks like it's wearing jeans. Its legs are like blue, but like a light blue sort of with white in it that look like jeans. It's bizarre, but that was caused by the different islands getting cut off from each other, and obviously being amphibians, they can't really get all the way across from one island to the next. It's too far for them to swim. They're fresh water as well, I don't think they can go in the salt water. But are the American people already conditioned to be living in a dictatorship under a lifelong leader? We shall see. Also, on a separate note, if you lived in Poland, would you stay or leave? If I lived in Poland, why? What's happened in Poland? Shit, did something happen? I don't know. If I lived in Poland, I'd probably enjoy living in Poland. It's a gorgeous place. First went to Poland in the summer of 1990. Back when it was called Czechoslovakia. That's a joke, it wasn't. Next door was. Roy says, I was in Panama City just after the Americans invaded, just to arrest General Noriega. Quite a historic time. The country was completely lawless at the time. So that would be 1989, I think. Was it? Was that 1989? Yeah. Graham, no, the crater is only half offshore. It still takes up a fair part of the Yucatan coastline. Okay, that's interesting. Johan says, Graham, not sure if it's been asked before, but did you name the island yourself, and is the pun Ginger Island deliberate? Yes, and yes. I really love the name Ginger because I went to the Ugandan city of Ginger a couple of times on my travels on the way through from out of Rwanda and then out into Kenya the first time, and then I went back through there when I had to go back to South Sudan. I went back again when I had to get out of South Sudan and go to Kenya and up to Ethiopia, because the land border between South Sudan and Sudan was very firmly closed because they've been fighting a war for many years. Close to tourists anyway. But yeah, there's a city in Uganda called Jinja, and when I don't know if I've ever told you about my troll. I've got the best troll ever. He's a guy who travels the world, and he sends me postcards from places that I haven't been. So he's read my blog, he's read my book, he knows where I've been, and he knows where I haven't been. So just to annoy me, he'll send me postcards from like the Cook Islands, from the Pitcairn Islands, from Greenland, Antarctica, Tristan da Cunha. He'll send me these postcards. He's got my address in the UK. He's got my parents' address anyway. And it's hilarious. So anyway, he's a mate of mine. I mean, it's not like someone who's doing this, anonymously, like to freak me out. It's all in good fun. But he was living in Las Vegas just after I won the competition, won the island. I didn't know where the island was going to be. I didn't know what the deal was. But all I know is I'd basically won. I'd won the game show. And I stayed with him in Las Vegas. He was a lawyer. He still is a lawyer, working in Las Vegas. He doesn't live there anymore. I think he lives in Houston. But he had on his walls like loads of really beautiful antique maps And there was one from the 1700s that was a reprint of a map of Africa that was presented to Sir Isaac Newton, and it mapped out. This is 100 years before the meeting they had in Paris or wherever it was, where they carved up Africa into different countries. So this was still like the tribes and stuff. And there was a tribe, an area, land, which is it's kind of where, around Lake Victoria, it's kind of where Uganda is now. And it was called the Kingdom of Ginjiro. So that's where they get ginger from, spelt that way. And on the map, it had descriptions of each place and what happened there and stuff. And for for Ginjiro, it said that the leader of the Ginjiro people was called the Bomber of Ginjiro, which I love the title of. And I was going to use that when I got here, but then I found out that Bomber means water pump in Spanish, so it didn't really work. Neither did calling it ginger, because obviously the J is pronounced as a H here in Spanish-speaking countries. And what was very cool is on this map, it described how they elected the leader of their country, how they elected their Bomber. And they would have a running match, literally athletics match. So the old Bomber would die, and they would have an athletics match, like Black Panther. It was kind of a bit like that, whoever won the competition got to become the leader, which is fantastic. It's a much better system. Although, probably a bit unfair on women. But that was sort of the inspiration for it. So ginger and Ginjiro. And at the time, my girlfriend was ginger. My girlfriend at the time was ginger. And I was ginger, and I thought, it's called Ginger Island. Why not? Spell it that way. Not to differentiate it from Ginger Island, spelled with a G, which is in the British Virgin Islands, I think. It's near Necker Island, where Richard Branson's got his holiday home. I think, last time I checked, this was a few years ago, might be wrong, but at the time it was the last uninhabited big island out in the BVIs, I think. Someone needs to look that up, let me know in the chat. If you've got easier access to the internet than I do. Shame that humans are so disappointing. Yeah. Well, you come to expect it after a while, don't you? Have you come across wolves on your travels, Graham? No. Dingoes in a I was going to say zoo. It wasn't a zoo because they were allowed to just roam freely. More like a safari park, I guess, in Australia. Met some dingoes. They were very nice. They had muzzles on, just in case. Poland has great metal. Behemoth and Vader are sick. Cool. No, but wolves. I've never come across a wolf in the wild or anything like that. But what magnificent creatures! What magnificent creatures! I'm like, what have we done to them? I mean, we made chihuahuas. We took an Asiatic grey wolf and we bred it and bred it and bred it, made it, had sex with its own father and brothers and whatever, and eventually we came up with like a pug. Came up with a Shih Tzu from an Asiatic grey wolf through genetic modification over centuries of breeding and inbreeding. Wow, just what? Oh my God! I just imagine like there's this, they go up to doggy heaven and there's the great wolf mother in the sky. She's just like, my children, what did those fucking humans do to you? What did they do? What did they do to you? Samu says, me too, life is very convenient here and very easy on the eye. Even Warsaw has a ton of green space, which is always good. One thing I don't like about New York is the fact that your green space is a Central Park and everywhere else is just built concrete there. Just posted a picture of the Chicks Shlub crater. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, sorry. In the Politics Social chat on Discord, Graham. Cool. You should have visited Greenland in all honesty. Yeah, but I did go to the Faroe Islands, so if I'm going to go to some random Danish territories that aren't countries, yeah. But I will go to Nuuk. I do. Just after I finished my journey, I was in Liverpool. I was in the heebie-jeebies with a couple of mates, and we were talking about my journey and everything. And one of my mates introduced me to this girl who was there, and he said, "Tell this guy where you're from, and he'll have been to your country." And she went, "I bet he hasn't been to my country." And I was like, "Go on." I was trying to guess where she was from, and in the end, she said, "I'm from Greenland. I'm from Nuuk." And I was like, I haven't been there. Yeah, you're right. You win. I had to buy him a drink, I think. Scandi Metal. Woo! Interesting elaboration on ginger. Thank you. Well, you did ask. I'm off to listen to Bob Marley and have a walk. Peace and love to you all. Oh, that's very nice. Thanks, Plum Duff. Bred them to make terrible little dogs like Jack Russells. Yeah. Right, so I've got to go now because Ishmael's just texted me. Hello everyone, where are you, Graham? Is that a cafe? Yeah, I'm in a cafe just off the main drag in Bocas Town. So I'm in Bocas Town at the moment. And if I just move the camera around, you can see there's the sea there. There is the sea. You can see the sea. But like I say, I'm going to have to get going. But I'm enjoying these chats. I hope you're enjoying them as well. Obviously, they're a little bit less structured as the stuff that we do in the UK, where we actually have a discussion, a very quick discussion, about what we're going to talk about, usually in the morning before we yak on about shit. But I'm glad you've taken part, and thank you for all of the lovely messages. Thanks for the super chat, really appreciate that. If you can help out with the island, even if it's just to buy like a couple of bags of soil, it would really, really help us out. So head over to the GoFundMe page, which I'll add to the description of this video when I get a second. And One Angry Pagan says, love German Shepherds. Yep, and on that bombshell, I'm Billy Kershaw's Badger. I'll just say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.